It's now time for the Eld Henderson Real News Show, Organize, Don't Criticize, which airs each Wednesday evening from 6 o'clock p.m. until 7 o'clock p.m. here on WMPR. We now take you to Studio B for the Eld Henderson Real News Show, Organize, Don't Criticize with Dr. Henderson.
Hello, everybody. This is the Eld Henderson's Real News Show, Organize, Don't Criticize. I want to tell you, folks, I want you to buy my book by the same title, Organize, Don't Criticize, at Amazon.com. You need to learn how to pool your resources, build coalitions, and promote unity with self, family, and community. Your life will change in 30, 60, or 90 days, guaranteed. Organize, Don't Criticize, Amazon.com. That's the book of the century. Buy it today. Hello, everybody. This is the Eld Henderson Real News Show again, during the Christmas holidays. And that's what we'll be talking about today, folks, telling you some of the good things about the holidays and some things you want to prepare for the next holiday period. I want to tell you again that we are so proud to have you. We are getting contacts from you from time to time on Facebook and calls and so forth. And we just appreciate it. Listening to the Eld Henderson Real News Show, Organize, Don't Criticize, is something that will help you in the long run if you want to continue to change your life, your status, and your family in 30, 60, or 90 days. And of course, some don't. So they're going to do the same thing. And that's why we are talking about the holiday seasonal period this evening. And one of the things that we will address is something that all of you, I'm not going to say all of us, all of you are going to be working on, and that's your Christmas debt. Christmas debt, folks. We're going to talk about the fact that many people are spending money they don't even have, borrowing money and buying things for the so-called Christmas holidays. And we will tell you why they do that. And of course, we'll conclude and show you and tell you that there's a way to make sure it doesn't happen next year. And that's why I want to say, if you listen to us today, you'll find that the new year will not be flashy. You won't be in debt. If you listen to our conclusion and say, well, I know that my household will be in order in 2026 and 27, because I've learned from the Eld Henderson Real News Show that Christmas debt for Thanksgiving or any holiday is not necessary if you prepare for it. You won't have any Christmas debt. So right now, folks, I want you to understand that you and your family and most of the other folks in your community are going to be celebrating Christmas holiday, and they are spending and will be spending millions of dollars at the shopping malls. They're going to be smiling and enjoying themselves, talking to the neighbors and friends that they didn't even speak to during the regular months prior to Christmas holidays. They have relatives they haven't seen in 5 and 10 years that will be coming by to enjoy food and fellowship. And tonight, folks, I'm just going to tell you that with all the decorations that many of you all have purchased, you have your communities looking good, and you're going to say, that is great. Say, our community now looks like it's somewhere that we enjoy living. But the bad part is going to come in early January, ladies and gentlemen, when you start getting those bills to pay for those Christmas gifts and all that decoration that you put up in January. And tonight we're going to break down what happens during the Christmas holiday. Why these debts really happen, folks. And we're going to show you and tell you that why it lasts so long. And people don't expect these debts to last so long. Your Christmas debt, folks, is going to last until May or June in 2026. And the last thing we're going to show you and talk to you about is some of the practical steps that you can put it into this so-called holiday cycle. Don't you want to know that, folks? I know you do. And that's why we want you to understand that Christmas doesn't come from irresponsibility. It comes from tradition. It comes from pressure. It comes from what we call normality. A lot of you say it's just normal to overspend during the Christmas holidays. Say, I don't have the money, but I do have a credit card, and I'm going to treat this credit card like income. I'm just going to pretend I have money to spend. But folks, you got to understand those credit cards belong to other folks. You're spending their money. The banks and the credit card companies, they are going to make that 30% interest, 15%, 29.9% interest. And they are going to tell you on radio, television, social media, don't worry, buy now and pay later. You've heard it. Some of your relatives telling you the same thing, especially your children. They are saying, Mom, Dad, Grandmother, buy now. I need this. I need that. And you all going to look at it and say, son, daughter, I love you. I'm going to get it for you. And I'll pay for it later. And that's when the pain is going to come, folks. You're going to feel that pain until you don't feel it anymore. And then you're just going to break down and think about all the money you spent during this holiday period. The travel, all the parties. And some of you have the nerves to spend a lot of money on entertainment. You have big parties for your children. 16 years of partying. When he or she turns 16, that's $2,000 and $3,000. A lot of you go and buy things that you really been thinking about. A new car during the seasonal period so you can impress your relatives. But this is real dangerous, folks, because when you get that stress and all those negative emotions in January, the first week of January, you're going to say then that I got a problem here because these bills really not going to pause. They're going to come in. They're going to come in every month until May or June. And then you're going to tell yourself, along with these bills, interest will not pause. Every month, I got to pay the bill and the interest. And then, folks, you're going to say, and I know now, this stress is not going to pause because paying for the next 6 months, I'm thinking about how I'm going to pay those bills that I didn't plan for. So now let's look at, folks, something that you all have been considering. You've been knowing about it all the time. I'm going to talk about the real cost of holiday spending. But the good news, you must understand that you don't have to have this cost if you have options. And that's what I will be sharing with you, some of the options that you can have and do the thing the right way the first time. Because if you have some options during the season, you'll find that this will delay your savings if you have some options. If you have some options, you'll find that this will delay investing. And if you have some options, you'll find that it'll delay stability. What is an option? It is something else, another choice that you have. Are you going to save? Are you going to invest? Are you going to have financial stability? The option is you will have it or you won't. If you spend more money than you can afford during the Christmas holidays, I can assure you, you're not going to have anything to save until June or July of 2026. You're not going to have anything to invest because your current bills for the holidays are going to delay your investing, and it's going to delay, as I told you, your stability. Because if you had a policy where you were investing so much money every month, and now you got to delay that investing for 3 to 5 months to start again in 2026, you're going to find that you better consider these options. Saving, investing, and stability for the next period. 2026 and 2007. Now, some of you know that if you spend about $1,000 for holidays, some of you are going to spend more than that, more than 1,000. Just use a simple number of $1,000 for the holiday, and you don't think about the interest rate. Now, that's going to cost you about $1,300, about $1,300 more by the time you get through paying it. And if you let the debt linger, some of these finance people will say, oh, don't worry about it. We'll give you another 6 months. You can pay for this Christmas deal up until November 2026. And you're going to say, well, that's going to be a good option. That's good. I'm just going to pay less, but I'm going to pay more in the future. Because you're going to add 5 months to your debt until November 2026, and then you're going to have to borrow again. So you will never be able to escape your debt. And it's going to stay with you. It's going to linger. And when you get to the point where you are going to end up broke, and you will then say to yourself, next time, I'm not going to do as much entertaining. I'm not going to do as much shopping. I'm not going to go on a vacation. I'm going to just stay at home with my immediate family. I'm not going to invite my relatives over from California, New York City, Montana, and other states. I'm not going to do that. But I'm going to tell you now, folks, since you're not going to do it, I can help you by showing you and telling you exactly how to make this work, how to make it work. Now, that's what we do on Organize, Don't Criticize. We know that our job is to tell you how to plan, how to invest, how to save. And we tell you that if you learn, earn, and serve, you'll be doing better than spending all the time. Listen, learn, spend through saving, invest in things that are going to give you a good profit margin, and then relax and rejoice. So the thing you got to look first, though, the thing you must look at is you must face the numbers. You must look at every dollar you spend during the holiday season. During the holiday season, you got to look at every balance in your account, the interest rate, and the payment rate. That's the first thing you have to do. We call it facing the numbers. Balance, interest rate, and the payment, the monthly payment. The second thing you must consider is what we call pause unnecessary spending. You can't borrow your way out of debt, ladies and gentlemen, so you ought to start thinking about pausing unnecessary spending. What is an unnecessary spending pattern that you ought to use? I'm talking about most of you. One is you're going to be nice and considerate, and some of your relatives will be visiting you, and they are not going to have the financial resources to do so, and you are going to loan them some money to catch a plane or to come on the train or to rent a car to come and visit you. They live out of state, you live in the great state of Mississippi, and you want to see your son, your daughter, the one that ought to be sending you $2,000 or $3,000. The third thing you want to do once you have all this debt, you're going to have to choose how you're going to pay it off. And I'm going to tell you right now, all the good people that make money and know money and love money and have money, they know that you're supposed to pay off your smallest balance first. That's the thing you're going to do. Your smallest balance of all this money you're going to borrow during the holiday period. Some of you are going to borrow some after Christmas because some of those relatives, as you know, are going to stay around a little longer than expected. So you're going to have to feed them, going to take them to the entertainment sector, the clubs and other places, church and other places that you all like to attend. So this is going to increase your payoff. And when you know anything, you're going to have high interest rates, and you're going to extend the time to pay it off. And the fourth thing you're going to have is less money. Unexpected income that is going to blossom into extra resources, extra interest, extra relatives that's coming in to take advantage of you. And that's why people, you have to understand that when you start thinking about a holiday period and who is going to be visiting you, you have to look at something called negotiation. Shall I allow every relative to come and visit this time? Last year we had 15. So I'm going to have to negotiate with some of my relatives here at home. And we're going to decide that we're just going to have our immediate relatives to visit us, sons, daughter, and their wives and children. Not a lot of extra nieces and nephews. That's why they have something called social media. We're just going to send them a gift, tell them on social media or through Zoom or something that we are going to have a meeting with the family that's not visiting this period. And we just talk about an hour and share gifts on our social media page. And that's the way you have to do it sometimes, folks. So when you start negotiating, you not only negotiate with your relatives and friends as to who's going to visit, you're going to have to call these creditors and negotiate with them. Nothing wrong with that. Call them and say, well, I know you owe us nothing but good faith because we love you and you've been letting us have money. You're talking to Visa and the other credit cards and debit cards and so forth. And say, I want you to do something for me. Just talk to them like you know them. Say, I want you to give me a little lower interest rate. I need a little what we call temporary relief. Say, I know paying this 19.5% interest is what we normally pay, and I've been gladly paying this because I don't ever pay on time, but I want you to give me a little more lower interest this time. And let me tell you, folks, if they see that you are addicted to using that Visa card or that credit card, and you've been doing it for the last 15 or 30 years consistently, they will give you a little reduction in your interest. And then they'll tell you that, what do you want? Surprise you. They'll surprise you. Tell you that you can pay 10% or 12% versus 29.5%. And some of you fall for that, ladies and gentlemen. So you're going to say to yourself one more time that all of this stress, all of this emotional discharge that has impacted me today, making me unpleasant after Christmas, I'm just going to have to make sure that I do better next time. So let's look at it. Doing better next time is very simple, where you're going to start preparing and preventing next year's debt. Sometimes you have to do that, folks. You have to do it. And you say the smartest move I have made in my life is when I start thinking that after all the years, the last 15 or 20 or 30 years, I've had Christmas debt that lasted almost 6 months. But now I'm going to figure out a way to not have Christmas debt. Old-fashioned, simple process is you set up a holiday fund. And this fund should include Thanksgiving and Christmas. You set that up in January, by January 2nd. We know you're not going to do anything on January the 1st, but moan and groan about these bills that you're looking at. So during the Christmas holiday, when you start looking at all these bills and all the mistakes you have made, if you start thinking about this holiday fund, here it is, folks. Very simple. You start saving $30 to $50 a month for all the things you're going to spend. Multiply 50 times 12 or 30 times 12 And for people that are economically conservative, multiply 12 times $25 a month and spend just that you have saved. That's the simple, common sense way to save for the holidays. And this now will separate your mind from your money. So next year, you won't even have anything to worry about. You know, you have $1,500 in the bank and you're going to set it up in a different account, folks. You're going to put your Christmas saving fund in a different account. And this fund is going to be ready for you in November 2026. That $1,500, or it may be $2,000, or whatever you have saved on the monthly basis. And therefore, when you have all those relatives visiting in 2026, you're going to be sitting up there talking to them. You're going to have a lot of joy and excitement. You're going to be glad to see them. You're going to feel good as you talk to them about how you didn't overspend this year, and encourage them to do the same. And guess what you're going to have in your family? Financial peace. Some going to listen to you, some are not. But they will praise you and enjoy that you are not in debt again. But some of them going to be laying back saying to themselves, I know what I'm going to do. Before I leave tomorrow, I'm going to ask Mama or Daddy or Grandpa to let me borrow $500. They saved all this money through this Christmas plan for 2026. I'm going to get some of that money. And you all know how you do, ladies and gentlemen. Some of you going to go on and let them have it. That will destroy you for the next season, the next holiday season. So I'm just going to tell you, if you don't do these things, you're going to be suffering the consequences of evil, and you're not going to enjoy your holiday period at all. And I want you to know that if you leave with one thing, I want you to understand that Christmas debt isn't a money problem. It is a mind problem. You have used your mind and thought about all those pleasurable instances where you can impress your friends and relatives, and you're going to find that it will be a money problem after January the 1st. So the real wealth is preparing for Christmas next year. We have just a short time, about 30 seconds left, and I want you to make a commitment to yourself that I am going to prepare for the future starting in January for 2026. Limited spending, planned spending. My plan is saying that I will be saving so much per month. Think about it, ladies and gentlemen. And if you listen to me, you will always win, because losing is something that is considered as a sinful act when you know better. So I'm going to tell you now, this is the end. Stand by for a period.
Plan today, protect tomorrow. Life is full of uncertainties, but your family's future doesn't have to be. Having life insurance, a will, and a trust in place is one of the most powerful acts of love and responsibility you can give to your loved ones. Life insurance provides financial security for your family when they need it most. Will ensures your wishes are honored and your assets go where you intend. Trust offers added protection and peace of mind by safeguarding your legacy. Don't wait until it's too late. Start preparing today so your family is protected tomorrow. Need guidance? Contact Dr. Eldridge Henderson at 601-201-1957 to learn more about how to get started. Dr. Henderson is available for speaking engagements. Like and follow us on Facebook and YouTube. Now back to our show.
Okay, folks, thank you. This is L. Henderson with the Real News. Organize, don't criticize. During the first segment of this show, we were telling you about some of the downfalls of overspending during the holiday season. And I tell you, folks, there's a lot of holiday seasonal stress that's going to be impacting all of you. And I will tell you again that there's nothing wrong with spending during the holiday period. As you found in the first segment, it's easily done. You just save some money on a monthly basis. 12 times $50 a month. Some of you with ample resources might find that it's good to save $100 a month. But spend. And now I want to tell you why you all overspend for holiday seasons. And this is something that Americans just love. I want to talk about Americans now, but we know it's going to be on Facebook. We're going to be on YouTube. So it'll be going all over the world. And we're on WMPR 90.1 FM all the time, every week on Wednesdays. And we want you all to stay with us and continue to support us. Buy the book, Organize, Don't Criticize. But now let's look at something that will give you a little warm-hearted feeling. Why Americans love holidays. Now, I want to tell you, folks, it's called brainwashing, emotional brainwashing. Holidays, in most cases, tap into your early childhood memories. I can remember the time when I would be very, very proud to say, Christmas is coming. Christmas night. Night before Christmas, I would say I couldn't sleep because I knew I would have a gift waiting for me. One piece of candy, 2 nuts, peanuts, or some kind of pecan or something like that, and a small toy that could fit in the palm of my hand. The total value, about $1.50. Proud. That's a tradition, folks. And the next thing that you will find that why most of you love these holiday periods is because of connections. You have a chance to connect with loved ones or folks you don't even like, but you just enjoy having your relatives and friends around. You have another reason where you have always reluctantly overspent to impress them. That's why you love it. You want them to feel good about you and say, my relatives in Mississippi, in New York City, in Colorado, in Indianapolis, and other places are doing well. Every year they feed us well. Every year we have family connections we haven't seen in the last 11 months. And folks, when I'm telling you that you love these traditions, you better start thinking about something else. You ought to start thinking about cutting back next time. And you're going to have to face this. If you don't cut back, next time you're going to have to think about all the commercialization that you had to deal with during the period that got you broke in the first place. You just can't stay away from these sales. A lot of you all love the holidays, so you go and buy things on sale that you already have or things you don't need. You're saving money, you say, and you put it in the closet for next year and forget about it and go and buy something else on sale. So I call that emotion. I call this tradition. I call this connections to impress your friends and relatives. And the other factor that a lot of people don't consider, this is just part of your culture. It's deeply embedded in American culture through media, through the religious sector, and through other means that you must have yourself positioned to be impressive during the holiday period. And that's why a lot of you all go and lease and rent things during the holiday period. You go to these convention centers and rent a space to have the family reunion. You have spending already $400 and $500 for a venue space, and then you got to provide food there, security, and other things that's going to give you some protective modes to Make sure you're not shot out of your party or whatever you have. And that's not good. So the economic reality, folks, ought to be enough to make you feel that I'm not going to do this continuously because of high costs, because of inflation. And I'm going to consider budgeting next time. I can't expect you folks to change too often, because when you have too many high expectations and you can't get away from those commercials, you can't get away from what we call that social status, you're just going to usually continue to do the same thing over and over. Now, most of you are not even concerned about all that stress and the crowds, the family travel, and all the other social obligations that add to this stress you have. You're just going to take what I call that short-term impact and suffer through it and say, I might be starving right now, but I'm just going to put on this good show and help my folks celebrate, make them feel good about me so I can feel good about myself. And folks, you got to understand, when you look at why you love holidays, now this is just a simple presentation. I'm going to tell you again that there's nothing wrong with it if you spend within your means. If you don't invite everybody you know in your family to come and visit you, 20 and 30 people at a time. Always think about the high cost. But a lot of you don't care about high cost. You say, if I have a high cost, I pay for it. If I can't, I'll just don't worry about it. That's not good, folks. You got to look at all the challenges you're going to have to follow through with if you make a debt that you can't afford to pay. We told you before, and I'm going to emphasize this again: high interest, low status. After the holidays, you're going to be depressed. Your emotional content is going to be regulated to the point where you're only thinking about all the problems you're going to have. You must think about the January debt, the regular bills, while you have to pay off the debt for Christmas. So solid, the precious folks put you down behind the eighth ball. You're worried about what people are going to say if you don't spend more, if you don't dress better during the holidays. Some of you are very concerned about riding better. You go and lease a car just for the month of December to go somewhere and say, well, my car is not nice enough to drive up to California. If your car is not able to get you there, you can't afford a ticket, you don't want to ride the bus or the train, just stay at home. Now, you don't want to think short term like that. I know you don't, but you want to understand that if you want to be economically sensitive, always think about what you have, what you don't have, and what you are able to spend. And forget about those societal pressures. But since some of you are going to have some serious problems in 2026, I'm just going to tell you now how you can make a difference and get some extra money. That's what it's all about. Some of you are saying to yourselves, I don't know how I'm going to make it in January 2026 through December. But I'm going to tell you one thing that a lot of you can say, I'm going to get involved in economic development. Something very simple. And folks don't like to hear it, but it takes a little work to start thinking outside of the box when you need to make money. But I'm going to tell you right now, there's one way you can make some money and pay yourself at the same time, and you will have to think then that your holiday expense is the last one. December 2025. That's the last one. From now on, I'm going to have an extra job where I'm going to be spending other folks' money. I'm going to start me a business. I'm going to start me a nonprofit organization. You've heard about that, folks. These nonprofit organizations are very, very important, and they are all over the world. And since they are easy to get organized, you ought to just think about it. I always say you need to learn how to make money. It's all about money on a capitalist side. Capitalism means or denotes spending money, having money, loaning money to others if you can get it back, and saving and investing. That's what capitalism is all about. So you ought to start a business since you can't afford a corporation or a limited liability company to set up your nonprofit organization, and you follow these procedures. Go to your Secretary of State's office or whatever it's called in your state and organize a business that's going to have what we call this 501c3 status, where you can go and get grants. Now, I've been talking about grants for years. We've helped a lot of people start these nonprofit organizations. Some are making a good little side hustle, $30,000, $40,000 a year, while they're already working on their other jobs. Now, it takes a little work to do it, but it's very simple to get a nonprofit started that can pay you a few $1,000s a year. I told you 25 or 30 or 40,000 while you're working on another job. It's very simple, but it takes a little work to get it started. I told you it's easy to get it incorporated through your Secretary of State's office or whatever, but you want to do some things before you start providing the so-called service in the community. Some of you just say, I'm going to start a nonprofit organization. I'm going to help the poor. That is a way to fail. The thing you want to do before you start a nonprofit, ladies and gentlemen, where you could provide a service in the community, you have to do what all the great people that's been doing this for years, you have to do something called a community needs assessment. What do we need in the community that people are not taking care of today? Do we need a child care center? No, they have too many in my community. Do we need another church where we can get a special call and start preaching? No, we don't. We have too many in the community. Do we need anything to help the poor people? What poor people? That need food, clothing, and shelter. Now you might be getting ready to do something. But do we have a lot of those in the community? Salvation Army, all kinds of organizations. Now we don't need that. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do something that's going to guarantee that I get some good funds from local, state, and federal entities. When you start looking at these federal entities, you're going to look at the state government that's getting federal monies. They have thousands and thousands to give you. You're going to look at these federal organizations, the various cabinet departments. They're just helping all kinds of people. But you want to research what they have money for, and that's the way you do that need assessment. And if you have the research information, it shows that the big money source for 2026 forward is providing job opportunities for unemployed people, or getting people credentials that's already working and making the minimum wage, or what I call the minimum wage and a quarter, without credentials. I'm going to do something that's going to teach my friends and relatives and community people how to get credentials in the skills they already have. They're already doing medical service. Going to teach them how to get that CPR certification. They're already doing work in the fast food industry. Going to teach them that it's very important to get your Safe Serve certification. You need to always remember that they are doing work as helpers for carpenters and air conditioning people. I'm going to tell them that my nonprofit organization will set up a program where we teach them how to go and get certified, get that credential academically in air conditioning, plumbing. Teach them that they need to learn how to drive these 18-wheelers. You teach them the theory, folks. You don't have to own the truck. You don't even have to have nothing but a school where you teach them the theory, and you build a coalition with someone that has a truck driving company and send your students there. And they will run through that program. If it's set up originally for 6 weeks, when you get through with them, they go in and get their certification in 6 days. I've known that to happen. If you have a nonprofit and you teach them well, and when they go to these places that get certified, all they have to do is just sit there and take the test. No training at this other facility. So once you do this, you've already done one of the most important things of all. You've already been told where the funds are. The funds are from those sources that have already done just what I told you to do the community needs assessment. Don't you know the people with the money have already done that? They have already done a community need assessment. They have already done a state assessment. These big organizations called foundations and others have already done a national assessment. So if you pull up their names and read what they fund, you then will not have to do the local needs assessment. If the big foundation that has $100 million serve the state of Mississippi, Alabama, New York City, or whatever, you see what they say they will fund in your state. Then you look at the requirements. If they say they serve or will provide certain services for people in Mississippi, are they talking about the rural area? Are they talking about the town area? Or are they talking about serving the people in the big cities? That's why you have to read their proposals. They have something called a proposal, or RFP, the request for the proposal, and they are going to tell you everything you need to know as to how to get the money. So we're going to help people that need some training in the rural area, that need to be connected with organizations that actually give the certificate. The training organization at the senior college or the community college or the little private college where they are giving people certifications. I don't want to spend all that money to buy the equipment. I'm going to give them the educational theories in a classroom, little building that I'm going to rent with space for about 30 students, getting a grant. I'm going to pay them $5 an hour just to attend, pay myself $25,000, $30,000, $40,000 a year to teach and direct the program, hire me a few counselors and a job finder, and we are going to do some business that would help people get better jobs. That's what it's all about, better jobs. And once you do that, folks, you will say that I'm doing something significant. And to make this work, you have to write these big foundations, write them a nice letter after you get on the computer and get your business incorporated. And you write a nice letter and tell them how you appreciate what they're doing for your state in certain areas. And show them with your documentation. You're going to put it all together that I'm incorporated to do these things in my state. It's aligned with what you give money for. I have a director, I have counselors, I have teachers, and you're going to have the resumes attached to this information that you are sending to these organizations. You want to make sure you have your federal identification called the EIN that is similar to the business, what I call Social Security number that you have as an individual. The business will have something called the EIN. The business, I call it Social Security number. So you're going to do all of this and send it to these people. And then you want to give them about a week or two to get that information and read it. And in your cover letter, you will say, I'm going to be calling you in 7 days in the AM between 9 and 11. You already know exactly who the program officer is of the foundation fund. You've already done the research. You know more about them than they think. You know their name. You know where they are from. You checked their resume and found out that they were originally attending college or university in Mississippi. And you might even know them. Is your neighbor's son or daughter that's a big time executive now at a big company that's giving away millions of dollars? And you call those folks. Since you already know about them, you tell them what you know. I know your mother. I know your father. You attended the local university, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Jackson State University, Tougaloo, Alcorn. I know you. And I am blank blank's cousin or son or daughter. We all know you. And we want you to help your folks down here in Mississippi, in New York City, wherever you're from. Folks, that's the way to get the support you need. You just can't be sending applications for money when you're already in debt and you want to make some money without getting additional debt. You just start a nonprofit organization and use the strategy that I'm giving you, folks, and you'll be able to do something that's significant, and you won't have to worry about debt in the future. You already used that plan that I told you earlier where you're saving $50 or $60 or $100 a month for the next year. You here making 30 or 40, 50,000 after you finish your work with your nonprofit. You'll be feeling very comfortable at the end of 2026 with all those resources and the initial effort to help others in the community. And you get that little small grant from this organization we call the foundation. They're not going to give you too much the first time, probably 150,000, 200,000, maybe 250 or 300,000. That's about all you're going to get. If you have your organization together, you have great people with credentials and have all the training and the counselors that's certified in your organization, they'll give you that money if you do it as I'm telling you. Now, a lot of people say, well, new organizations can't get a grant. They most certainly can if they do just what I told you. You got to be highly organized. You got to have certified and what I call qualified people. There's a difference in qualifications and certification. Qualification deal with the fact that your director has a college degree in anything or in something. That's what the foundation said. In order to be the director of this organization, to get my money, you got to have the right qualification. College degree in something. Number two, your person not only have a college degree, he or she has a certification in the area that you're providing the service in. For instance, he or she has a certification in alcohol or drug or workforce development. Then you're going to have tutors or teachers. They are already certified. And all these people could work for you because many are already working in the school system at a college or high school or university, and they need to do something on the side. So they will come and work with you from 5:30 to 8:30, Tuesdays and Thursdays, or Wednesdays and Fridays, or all day on Saturday while you're doing your training to send your student to one of these other agencies where they're going to take the test to get certified. You see how simple it is, ladies and gentlemen? Very simple. So when you get your information together and develop this proposal and call the people and make an appointment to call them to make that appointment. Don't do like someone I know in Jackson, Mississippi. They went to another state to meet some people at a foundation. That was not good. Well, I was just going to there anyway, they said. They went to the agency, went in the agency, and the person they wanted to talk to had appointments scheduled for the next 2 or 3 weeks. That wasting time. Guess what they did when they got back? They say, I'm going to wait until later. Folks, I've been telling you for years, procrastination is something you never should be dealing with. Don't put it off until tomorrow. You do the good things I tell you and get your research together, develop those proposals. And once you do all the things I told you, then you submit that proposal to that company and you just wait. Every time you apply for a grant for your nonprofit organization, that company that gives the money to you and others going to tell you that this cycle is going to run for 45 days. It's going to start January the 15th. It's going to run for until February the 15th. That's the last date you have to get it in. And if you're smart, ladies and gentlemen, you'll start working on that proposal. And since you already know the person, I told you to contact them, work with them, you can call them. And since you have that personal relationship through phone, sometime in person, you can say, I just want to share with you my proposal. I got your RFP, your request for a proposal. Now I'm going to give you mine and I'm going to show you and tell you I have every item that you asked for in your RFP, in the request for the proposal, in my proposal. Go through it, folks. They are requiring anywhere from 10 to 30 different things in your proposal. That's what they are requesting you have. You make sure you have them all. And then once you talk to them and tell them what you have, you put that proposal then on your desk or a table somewhere and call a meeting and say, we have this thing done. It's completed. I've talked to the people. And I just gave them a summary of what we have. So you're going to call in your budget specialist, the person with computer skills in your organization, and someone that has good ability in grammar and English and so forth, and you let them read it. Then you give it to that accounting person, one that knows figures, and let them make sure that budget is correct. Put it on that calculator 3 or 4 times and make sure you have what you say you want. If you're asking for $235,000.01, you make sure it comes out to that. Specifically that, not 1 penny under, not 1 penny over. And you send it to the company. I already told you in my introduction in this part or this section, is already set for a 30-day period to send it in. And you want to do this a week before the deadline so you can do all the things I just mentioned, review this thing 2 or 3 times, run it through that computer person, run it through your English person, and the person that can handle that accounting. And then you have 4 days left. You put it on the counter again, but leave it on the desk again. And one day, after all the others leave, you pull that proposal out and read it one more time. And the reason you have that computer person in there, you didn't think about the fact that I can't mail this to these people. This thing got to be sent through the computer. And that's where most of the big grants are, folks. You don't mail them anymore. So you got to have your computer specialist there that can send it on time, about 3 days early. They have to know all the different strategies and procedures and how to upload and do all kinds of things with data and information that's attached to your proposal. So it'll be just like they said in their request, which we call the RFP from the money people. I call them the money people. And when you do all of this, folks, as a new organization, you'll be surprised. All you have to do then is just expect success. I've been telling you this a long time. Once you do the right thing in life, whether you're old or young, you can expect success if you do the right thing. And when you know anything, you have that grant, 250,000, 275,000. And once you get it, you call a staff meeting and say, I'm sorry, I want to talk to you about the grant that we submitted. And you will be sitting there talking to them, acting depressed, and say, I want to thank you all for the effort and the support that you gave us on this proposal. I got a response from them yesterday. And I would just want to tell you, I got some news for you. Talk slow and reach over and drink a little water and so forth. And say, I'm going to have to share this with you. I really think it's appropriate to share it with you right now. But before you do it, you ask your submitter, the person that sent it on the computer, what do you think about this proposal? Do you think we have it? What do you think in this letter that I have on my desk? I don't know, but I think I did the right thing. I followed the procedures. I submitted all the information, all the attachment. Then you talk to the person that proofread it for you. They call it an English specialist. So what do you think? Do you think you made any errors on this proposal? Because I got the results right on my desk. You're acting solemn. Oh, you acting like things not going well, and they're not. They will tell you. The writer told you. The reviewer told you. And then that accountant, that tax specialist, whatever you want to call them, say, I figured that thing out, and everything turned out to the penny. And then you pull out a little handkerchief, and dap your eyes and say, ladies and gentlemen, and you do that as you're standing up. Say, like, I got to tell you the results of this letter. And say, I'm here with this information, and I'm proud to tell you they gave us $275,000 for our project. And they told us in this letter, and I'm going to share it with you, that we're the only organization that has been incorporated in the last 12 months to get this organization, because you had a highly well-prepared proposal and you followed all the procedures. So I'm telling you, folks, I've seen this happen. If you learn and do the right thing after you do the research, you can always be successful in whatever you do. And once you get that grant, folks, here's something else you have to do. And if you don't do this well, you'll find that we can't be successful. You start then researching, after you've already done part of this before you got the grant, how are you going to get started within 30 days? Because once you get a grant, you're going to get ready to say to yourself, we got to get these people. That's right. So I'm going to have to start concluding this statement here and give you a closing statement about this, because you need to know the whole process to go through. You have your grant. Now you're going to have to start recruiting the people that you already identified. You're going to have them to fill out an application in your office. You're going to have a little meeting with all those folks that fill out the application after you accept 30. Going to have a little, what I call joint venture meeting, where you're going to talk to them about the program procedures. And when you know anything, you have your people together and you're going to start your training. So I'm going to conclude by saying, if you have a bad holiday, you spend all the money you can, start a side hustle for 2026, make that money, save every month $50, $600, and you will never be in debt again during the holiday period. I want to thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Support us if you can.